It was a quiet, foggy evening when Sarah moved into the old house on the hill. The place had been abandoned for years, and she was excited to start fresh, away from the bustle of the city. The neighbors whispered about the house, strange stories that Sarah dismissed as superstition. A fresh start is all I need, she thought. The house was larger than she had anticipated, with a wide staircase and long hallways that seemed to stretch endlessly. She spent the first few days unpacking, but there was an unsettling feeling that lingered in the corners. The floors creaked, the windows rattled when the wind blew, and at night she could hear faint whispers through the walls. One evening, as Sarah was sitting in the living room, she noticed a small door tucked behind a faded tapestry. It was almost invisible unless you were looking for it. Curiosity tugged at her, and she gently opened the door, revealing a narrow staircase leading down into darkness. Heart racing, she grabbed a flashlight and descended. The air grew colder as she moved deeper into the house's forgotten underbelly. At the bottom of the stairs, she found a small room, the walls lined with old bookshelves filled with dust-covered journals and strange artifacts. In the center of the room stood a large, antique mirror. Sarah approached it, wiping the glass with her sleeve. The reflection that met her eyes was not her own, at least, not entirely. The woman in the mirror was pale, with hollow eyes that seemed to stare straight through her. She blinked and rubbed her eyes, but the woman remained, her lips curling into a faint, eerie smile. Suddenly, the whispers grew louder, rushing into the room like a violent wind. The mirror began to tremble, and Sarah took a step back, her breath caught in her throat. The woman in the mirror leaned forward, her hand pressed against the glass, and Sarah could feel an unnatural pull toward it. Before she could react, the mirror shattered with a deafening crack. The whispers stopped abruptly. The room was silent. Sarah stood frozen, her mind reeling. She felt a cold hand brush against her shoulder. She spun around, but no one was there. The temperature dropped. Slowly, she backed toward the stairs, but as she did, she saw something move in the shadows. A figure, shrouded in darkness, watching her from the far corner of the room. Then, a voice, low and hollow, whispered in her ear, "You shouldn't have opened it." Panic surged through her. She ran up the stairs, slamming the door behind her.